What's up guys, it's Necro and welcome back to the channel. So recently I started playing some Escape from Tarkov and quickly realized how much this game does not hold your hand. It has a very steep learning curve. So with that in mind, I decided to make a video on 10 things that I wish I knew a little bit sooner and learned from, other people I've played the game with, or just by exploring the controls of the game and stuff like that. I'm the type of person I like to pass knowledge forward, and with a game like this and how exhilarating it is, if I can help even one person be more comfortable playing the game just by getting started with these tips, then I'm all the happier for it, because this game is an experience that I wish everyone would at least give a chance, just based on how much fun it really can be. So, with that said, the very first thing that I wish I knew a little bit sooner when I got started playing this was offline raiding. So basically, you can just kind of hop into a raid all by yourself, any map that you choose, and all you have to do is click the enable offline mode for this raid. You can enable PvE, so that way you can learn how to fight against the scavs and raiders on these maps. You can even turn on the bosses. The bosses in the game are... They can be pretty tough. They have unique movement to them, including their guards. They all have like little guard troops that they're kind of like, it's like a squad that they kind of have with them, helping them, fight against you and survive. But you can make it so there's random weather conditions. You can even set the difficulty and the amount of the scavs on the map to higher amounts. And then you can make it so you're tagged in curse, so all of these scavs will actually hunt you down, and you can turn on scav war, which will basically just make the map complete chaos. I wouldn't recommend this unless you're just kind of looking to fool around. But outside of that, I mean, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing to kind of help you get started to learn the maps, find out where loot spawns are, find out where scav spawns are, really actually learn where the extraction points are, because that is one of the toughest things about this game. And this tool all by itself will be the #1 thing I will recommend everybody to do when they get this game. This is a godsend when it comes to something that does not hold your hand. The next thing that I wish I knew as a beginner in this game was the little reticle that pops up when you're hovering near or on loose loot in-game. So if you didn't know, surprise, there's a lot of loose loot all over every map in Escape from Tarkov. It can seem pretty daunting as a new player to try to figure out where all this loose loot is, but the best thing you can do for yourself if you're really curious is kind of take your time when you're going through an area and just kind of look around at everything. When you do get close to something, it will slowly appear in the middle of your screen. A little white dot, a little reticle will kind of gain strength in its white shading as you get closer to it, until it'll actually pop up with the name of the item when you are close enough to it to pick up. It's an extremely useful little thing to know when it comes to finding this loose loot, because there's actually a lot of important items that are not really going to be found too often inside containers, whether it's a jacket or a weapons case or whatever. The amount of important items that I have been able to find because of this little tool, it has skyrocketed since discovering it. I cannot tell you how many important things like folders of intelligence and keys and stuff like that you can find around the map just by noticing this little thing. The next thing I have for you is going to be insanely important for when it comes to combat, whether it's against other players or AI. AD spam is something that we've all learned from playing previous shooters, whether it's Call of Duty or Battlefield or something else, to confuse our enemies as well as dodge incoming bullets. In this game, in Escape from Tarkov, it can be extremely detrimental to your own accuracy. It'll make it easier for opponents to hit you before you hit them because of this sway. So essentially, when you change your motion up a lot in this game, it'll make your weapon sway in one direction or another. You are often better off planting your feet and just taking your shots at a higher speed, hoping that you hit your enemy before they hit you, than you would be to just kind of walk back and forth while trying to just spray at your target. Once I did realize this about this game, I have started winning so many more fights. You can control the sway if you are to dedicate your movement to one direction or another, because the sway will kind of lock for you when you start to do that. But until you started hitting your shots on the regular after planting your feet, I would advise against this, just so you can improve over time rather than just hope for dumb luck. The next thing I have for you is to understand the order in which grenades will be used as you are hitting the G key. So real quick, easy to understand, it'll utilize grenades in your pockets from left to right, and then in your rig from top left down to the next segment over to the right, and then down, so on and so forth until you're on the bottom right of your rig. Very quick to understand, very important information all the same. The next tip is very fast to understand as well, is everything that you do that you can hear yourself, everyone else around you can hear as well if they are close enough and or have a headset on in game. What this means is eating food, healing yourself, walking even slowly while crouching. If you are close enough to them, they can hear it. And that's something that you can utilize in your offensive maneuvers and defensive maneuvers against other players and scavs. Understanding looting is a fundamental part of playing Escape from Tarkov, and knowing how to do it quickly will make or break many, many moments for you. So real quick, Alt and left clicking an item will equip it directly to your character, and Control and left clicking will put the item that you're clicking on in your inventory. You can use this for looting on the fly to get in and out if you know where something important is, whether it's on a PMC that you just killed or if it's in a box that you previously opened but were interrupted looting earlier. This is something that you can utilize to just kind of get it and go. Another control thing that will help you on the fly is, obviously there's a lot of items to examine in the game. Lots of unique items across the board that are something you will have to manually examine in game so your character can learn what it is. While you're doing things in game, instead of right clicking on something and then examining it there, if you just press the middle mouse button on it, it will examine it for you right away. Another use for the middle mouse button on guns specifically, if the weapon has a foldable stock, it will fold it just by pressing this button on the fly. The next tip I have for you includes the middle mouse button again, but this time when you're moving around in game, not in your inventory. So you can actually look around while you're moving forward, whether you're just walking or sprinting, and just by holding down the middle mouse button, you can kind of move your character's head around a little bit. You can use this as a way to kind of look in a door as you're running past, or if you're just kind of casually running through the woods or something. If you're curious of what's around you while you're moving, you can utilize this tool very quickly to just kind of get a scope around you. As we all know, extractions are very important when it comes to playing Escape from Tarkov, because that's what your goal is at the end of the day, is to get in, get loot, and extract. Understanding extraction points can go a very long way. So something that I didn't know until actually very recently is, if an extraction point that's listed for you is highlighted in green, it means that it's activated and ready to be used. So for example, if it's something that requires power to be turned on, like ZB013 in customs, then if it's highlighted green, that means the power is already on. Another useful tip on top of this is, if for example the dorms exfil, if that is lit up green, that means someone currently is about to use it. It means they paid for the car to be used, and it will be out in less than a minute, meaning you can either rush that point or take that information in to understand that that will not be available for you by the time you get there if you're too far away. The final tip I have for you is something that isn't going to be useful all the time, but it's something that might make or break a moment for you during a very intense moment later on. So, if you press V on your keyboard, it will equip your melee weapon. However, if you double tap V, it will swing your melee weapon and then automatically re-equip whatever weapon you had out previously. So you can utilize this to quickly break a window and jump out of it, or if you're running at something because you think they're low enough health to finish off with a quick melee swing after you run out of ammo, you can run up at them, double tap V, swing. If you miss, you can continue swinging or whatever you want to do. but I actually have had an instance where a quick swing finished off a scav for me when I ran out of ammo and didn't have time to reload because they had a shotgun and were about to shoot me in the face. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. That's going to wrap up the quick tips that I have for you. Things that I wish I knew a little bit sooner and I feel like would be important to many new players coming into the game. With a wipe happening very recently, I know there's a whole new population of new players, including myself, getting into this, and so if I am of any help at all to anybody, then I consider this video a success. Thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.